Hari Om. Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you. Please come. Let's pray together, take blessings, and then listen to the divine teachings. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Sahana vavatu sahano bhunakto sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. O Lord the Almighty, who has the divine names Samitinjayaha, Viksharaha, to such a divine Lord, together with Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya, Prapatti, we offer our humble salutations. To seek His grace, His love, His mercy, His devotion, His compassion, His forgiveness, His strength. O Lord, bless us with the divine qualities of Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya, Prapatti, and Mumukshutvam. Only and only to realize Thy true self within us, to have that aparokshanubhuti, the first-hand experience of seeing You within us. O Lord, we beseech You, that at the end of our lives, bless us that we reach thy holy feet. Om Tat Sat. By the grace of the Almighty and the blessings of the Guru Parampara, today we are on our Divine Discourse number 348 on the 12th of September 2023. Shobhanakrit Nama Samvatsara Dakshinayana Varsharuto Shravana Masa Krishna Paksha Bhauma Vasare Trayodashatitau Ashlesha Nakshatra Shiva Yoge Vanijakarane. On this auspicious day of Tuesday and the auspicious time of the evening, we all make a firm resolve with conviction, O Lord, I know that whatever is happening to me in my life is only and only at your behest. You have taken complete charge of my life. And I firmly believe that every situation, every circumstance, every condition, every happening, every incident is only at your command. I fully understand, I am fully aware, I fully believe, I fully trust that whatever is happening to me is only and only to uplift me from this ocean of births and deaths. Having a profound and firm faith, I accept everything with prasada buddhi. I treat every situation as a gift from you to evolve in this human life. Our humble salutations to the Guru Parampara. Om Tat Sat. Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you once again. So, with the help of Gyani Pandey, we have been able to, now we have decided that before every discourse, we have the previous discourse notes. So which will come to you by afternoon, or we'll try to do it much earlier. So what will happen is, if you go through those notes once, then it prepares you for the subsequent discourse. So you have a background of where you're coming from, and it gives you a much greater idea of understanding. So that's what we have started from today. And if you all had a chance, well and good. Otherwise, you can look at it after this class. But from next class onwards, make it a point. We'll try to do as much as possible, because it is her personal time also, like how she's able to deliver well on time. We'll see. Okay. So, in the previous class, what did we understand was that how Arjuna is in turmoil and is trying to get out of that turmoil. So, and what are the various ways where now Lord Krishna is trying to convince him? So we'll just take a recap on those issues once again. We'll start from chapter 1. I'll just tell in a few sentences, and we'll move forward in terms of getting to know what was Arjuna's life right from the beginning. Okay? Come. So if you see, now the beginning, the first shloka of this chapter number 5, Karma Sannyasa Yoga, starts with Arjuna's question, and it is the fifth question out of the total 16 questions Arjuna asks in the entire Bhagavad Gita. So, what he says is, he basically talks of the confusion, and he's not able to understand, because in every chapter, right from third chapter onwards, he has been asking the same question. Shri Krishna is giving him an answer, but he's not able to understand. He again comes back to the same question. See, if you see first chapter, what happened? It was basically Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Vishada means grief. He was completely grief struck, immersed in so much of sorrow, immersed in so much of despair. It was like one of the worst tragedies of his life. And there, the entire chapter, he's showing his weakness, where he has lost control of the situation, the way he geared up for the battle, the way he had planned for the battle, and the way he enters the battlefield also was a very heroic entry. But looking at the army opposite, where Bhishma Pitamaha, Dronacharya, his cousins, his friends, his relatives, suddenly he loses all his valor and strength. Now, what does this show to us? See, we all are facing a battle in our life. Now, here it is a literal battle where you can see Kurukshetra, where there is a Akshohini Sainya in front of him. But in front of us, we have got so many situations. Sometimes there are guests at home. You have to go to office or your work. Some relatives land up. And I tell you, at that point of time, what can hit you bad is your maid calls and says, my daughter is unwell, I have to take her to the hospital. Aren't you not struck by grief? See, you're maid and then you get another call, your cook also gives some reason and you're gone. So, this is no less than a battle for a common householder. Now, talk on the other side. You are trying to save money and you see that one after the other, the expenses are building up. You had planned for everything, and then you see suddenly your car comes for repair, and there a big bill is now in front of you. Otherwise, you can't use your car. Now, if you can't use your car, you can't do your requisite work in the right manner. So, like this, it could be so many things which we have as challenges in life. So, Arjuna, he confronts a situation where it was just that his dear grandfather and his dear teacher are in front of him, and he says, is this something which I have to do in life for this particular kingdom? Now, all the while he knew that he was fighting for the kingdom, but now suddenly he asks all these stupid questions. So the first chapter is completely where he is in the state of sorrow and despair. And then comes the second chapter. Now, importantly, what Lord Krishna tells is, Are, for whom are you crying? He reveals a secret. This Atman, which is there in each and every person, is immortal, Amara. It is immortal. And you may think that they are dying, but only the body is gone, but the Atman is still there. So in this way, he says it is foolish for you to lament on this front. And talking about such aspects, he says, look, on one hand, he talks of the Sankhya Yoga, which is the highest truth of the Atman, the Paramatman, and in the same chapter, he again talks about karma. He says, you as a prince, your duty is to protect your citizens. Your duty is to protect dharma. You have to be on this side of righteousness, dharma. And what is it you're talking about? So, and how to do this? He brings in karma yoga also over here. He says, if you have to do your duty and ensure that you don't get the wrong effects of your duty, he says, do karma yoga, unite yourself with God and do your works. Now slowly he moves to the third chapter now. He says, while you're performing your duties, you know what happens to you? It starts purifying your mind. Now you're saying, where is this divine? Where is this divinity? Where is this God? I don't understand. But as far as you are blindfolded, your mind is clustered with dirt, like all the Shadripus, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. One quality if you take, it can ruin a person. Kama, desire. Constantly you're spinning in thoughts of desire. Krodha, anger. Lobha, that is that. Greed. Moha, not able to understand, although it is very clear to somebody, but for you, you don't understand and you get confused and you completely talk nonsense and behave in a nonsensical way in life. So, Lobha, Moha, Mada. Mada is pride. You have got something and you suddenly start behaving that there's nobody greater than you. Matsarya, jealousy. Look at each one of these qualities. So this is that impurity of the mind. Not that some dust has come and fallen on the mind and you vacuum clean it and it will go away. No. These are the qualities which Lord Krishna is talking about. The moment you remove all this, he says, I am right there, I am available to you. So now, indirectly we get to understand that one of the obstacles, hindrances what we have got in life to understand God or to see God is we are having a dirty mind, which is with all these vices. So now he takes it forward. In the fourth chapter now he says, okay, every action what you do, he talks about various sacrifices. We learnt about all these sacrifices. He says, use all these sacrifices as what? That you are doing for my sake. So, important aspect here what we need to understand is every sacrifice which you are performing, like where, let's take one example. You control your senses. Okay? You do upvas. Control your senses. He says that is a yajna. And by doing that, you are cleansing your mind. So, this way he says, one should slowly start having the knowledge of one's relationship with that God. It is not that just you understand everything, but ultimately keep pursuing yourself. Am I able to feel the presence of the Lord within me? Am I able to feel that divinity within me? In fact, Lord Bhagavan Shankaracharya, in Viveka Chudamani, one of the Prakarana Granthas which Shankaracharya has written, he talks of Vadantu Shastrani Bhajantu Devatan Kurvantu Karmani Bhajantu Devataha Atmaikya Bodhena Vina Vimuktirna Siddhyati Brahma Shatantarepi. This is the sixth shloka of the Viveka Chudamani. He says, let erudite scholars of world fame, maybe they are quoting all sorts of scriptures. You talk anything, you say, what is the 10th shloka of the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita? He'll be able to tell you. What is the 16th shloka of the one of the Upanishads, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, he'll be able to tell you. See, let them know everything by heart. Let them have the capability of talking about every spiritual knowledge. This is one. Let erudite scholars quote all the scriptures. Second, let gods be invoked through sacrifices. You're doing massive home, havan, and you're invoking God. Ahvana, what we call, you're invoking God. So, third one, let elaborate rituals, pujas, ceremonies, and various sorts of rituals are performed. And then the fourth one, he says, let personal gods be propitiated, means it is where they are appeased or they are pleased with your acts. Yet, now this comes as a catch, without the experience of one's identity with the self. One's identity means our own Atman. If we are not able to experience that Paramatma within us, there shall be no liberation for an individual, meaning a Jiva. And till when? Not even in the lifetime of 100 Brahmas put together. 100 Brahmas meaning it is trillion years. So it is, meaning he makes it very clear. Whatever you do, unless and until you aim for that experience of that divine within yourself, that identity with that Paramatma, you will never get liberated. So now this is a very important understanding what we need to have. Just by, doing all these rituals, sacrifices, then knowing the Vedas, Swadhyaya, what we call, you are not going to land anywhere. So in this way, now Lord Krishna, he makes it clear that at any stage, whatever you are doing, try to ensure that you are getting the first-hand experience of the Almighty within you. Now comes the situation here. I will go into a little detail about this Karma Yoga and Karma Sannyasa. The reason is, see, chapter number 3, Karma Yoga. Then chapter number 4, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Now chapter number 5, Karma Sannyasa Yoga. What is this subtle difference what the Lord is trying to teach us over here? So, if you go by this understanding, once we have a gross understanding of this, then it becomes easier for us to see how is trying to educate us with various concepts in terms of making, convenience for soul evolution. Okay, so he compares Karma Yoga, which you can talk in terms of easy understanding, working with the devotion. Simple. Karma Yoga means you're invoking an element of devotion. Meaning what? You're offering your work for the love of God. Now, Karma Sannyasa Yoga means you are renouncing your actions. Now, he emphasizes that both lead to the same ultimate goal. Now, that is the beauty of this. So, allowing individuals to choose between them. Whatever you want, you can choose. However, a key insight emerges. Perfect renunciation of action. It requires a sufficiently pure mind. And this purity is achieved through work in devotion. Consequently, for the majority of we as humans, Karma Yoga is the most suitable option. This is what we need to understand. Now we'll get into this renunciation and devotion in much details. Now what he is trying to say is, karma yogis, what they do, they approach the worldly duties with a purified intellect. Now who is a karma yogi? We, grasthas, who are in this world. We all have a profession to do. We all have a family to take care. We all have a goal in life, as far as the worldly goal and also a spiritual goal. So such people, we as karma yogis, we have to purify our mind or intellect. Now they also let go of the attachment to the outcomes of the action and dedicate them to God. Now see, this is one of the foremost aspects. We always are completely after a particular achievement. So what the Lord says is, I am doing it for the love of God, and I am not interested in how much comes to me and what I get out of this. It could be anything. It could be monetary benefit, it could be recognition, it could be a word of praise. He is not interested in the result of his action. In this way, what the Lord says is, by dedicating your action to the Lord, although you are doing action, you are untainted by sin. Now we are going to learn all this. So this way, this person completely, he knows that whatever he is doing for the love of God. Now comes another situation where he starts getting jnana. This is karma yoga. Jnana SANYASA yoga. What happens here is, getting that knowledge, he knows who is residing in me. At one point, if that power which is there in me, if it is not there, it is I'm dead. So he understands that there is some power in me. And with this realization, this leads such people to neither see themselves as the doer, meaning the karta, nor the enjoyers of their action, meaning the bhokta. They completely have surrendered. Now, earlier person, he didn't have knowledge. Most of the people don't have that much knowledge. They just for the love of God, they were doing karma yogis. Now, jnana SANYASA yogis, what they do? With that vision that there is Lord in me, and with that power, with the sense of equanimity. So this knowledge which they have allows them to cultivate the divine qualities of God, and they eventually find their place in that absolute truth. Worldly individuals chase after sensory pleasures. Often they are not aware that that is the very source of their misery. A person is there. He is well off with one or two businesses on hand. Many times you look into your own life. Now what you do is, you get a nice opportunity and they paint a lovely picture and you take up the third activity, and then you find yourself in misery. So the very source of these sensory pleasures, it takes them towards misery. So, but karma yogis, they do not seek gratification in the pleasures. Instead, they always experience the bliss of the Lord. Now also karma sannyasis, now what they do? They undertake austerities to gain control over their senses, mind, intellect, and they detach from thoughts of external enjoyment and gradually free themselves for desires, fears, anger, meaning all the shadripos. Finally, they dedicate their austerities to God, and they always remain in lasting peace. Now this entire chapter is going to talk about what I have just now said. How each and every aspect can be achieved, where they talk of an aspect and how you can achieve that is spoken in several shlokas. Now this difference to make you understand in a much easier way, I will tell you a story. So once upon a time, there was a very busy city, and in that city there lived two friends. One was Arjun and another one was Dev. Now, both were like-minded, and they said, no, we have to realize this ultimate truth and the path to inner peace. And what they decide is, okay, we'll both move forward in achieving this in our life. But what happened was they took two different approaches. Arjun was a very diligent businessman, always engrossed in his work, and he had heard of the spiritual teachings from a wise spiritual teacher. And then he said, let me take the guidance of my teacher. Let me not get into conclusions. And he goes and approaches a teacher, a Swamiji. Now, that Swamiji, he explains to Arjun the concept of Karma Yoga. And he says, Arjun, the path of spiritual realization lies in performing your worldly duties with a pure heart, without attachment to the outcomes. See, now this is pure Karma Yoga. You are a businessman. You are a householder. Whatever you are doing, do your duties with a pure heart. Don't have all those shed repos, watch them. Don't have those shed repos. Do it with a clean heart, without attachment to the outcomes. Whatever you give, O Lord, I take it as your prasad. That is the first prayer what we are talking. Now Arjun took this wisdom to his heart, and then he began to dedicate his work for a higher purpose. Then there was a big change in himself. He stopped obsessing over profits. Normally, as a businessman, what you want to increase your bottom line, which is the profits, and top line is your turnover. So that he was no more looking at the top line or the bottom line. And instead of that, what he focused was, how can I serve my customers in a much better way? And not only that, he looked at all his employees with love and compassion. Slowly he felt a profound change within himself. Just by this change, what he brought in himself, his mind started getting more and more clearer. And he realized that he was not the doer of the action. Because as the mind gets clearer, then you get the vision of the Lord within. And you know that is the power which is actually doing everything. And how you can understand that? When miracles start happening. When you have taken charge of a situation and you see that you're trying your best and nothing happens. And at that point you surrender to that inner voice, inner strength, and suddenly you see that what was not happening started happening. So he started experiencing that I am not the doer, there is somebody else within me as a doer. And he starts treating everybody equally with respect and kindness. And thereby he found immense joy in his transformed outlook of such nature in his life. Now, I'll give you my own example. This is so true what they're talking of Karma Yoga. In 1997, more or less every Sunday or an alternate Sunday, I used to visit the Jagadishwara temple in the Chinmaya mission in Powai, Mumbai. I was staying quite far to this place, but I used to make a point to come over here. Now, one day after the evening Arati at about 6:45 or so in the evening, I came out of the temple, and on the left-hand side there was a notice board, on which I saw a pamphlet, which was talking about Karma Yoga. Now, what was written on that, I'll tell you. It was said by Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda, before doing any work, think that you are going to do worship. While doing the work, think that you are doing worship. God is doing everything through me. I am only an instrument in His hands. After completing your work, offer it at the lotus feet of the Lord as your humble devotion and worship. And then within inverted commas came, then karma will not bind you. This was in 97. I made a note of that, and I used to write on my diary. First page on my diary, this particular Karma Yoga principle was written. As soon as I enter my office, after offering prayers, I sit on my chair, I open the diary, I read this statement. And now, it was just not reading with mind and your eyes. It was to be felt in your heart. And as you're doing work, you are thinking, you have to think that you're doing worship. Like as in a worship, you're doing archana, you're doing arati, you're doing naivedya. As you're doing that, so here you're talking to somebody, you're writing something, you're typing something. So all this becomes a part of worship. And at the end of the day, I used to literally, with folded hands, I used to go and offer it at the feet of the Lord, which I had a Tirupati Balaji photo next to me. Now, see how it worked. After 14 years, now this entire, in 2011, I got into the Vedanta class, which was nothing but a miracle. 3 qualifications to enroll in the Vedanta class. You should be a bachelor. I was not. You should be less than 30 years. I was not. 3, you should be a resident of the ashram. I was not. But it was this only and only Karma Yoga, which eventually developed into Jnana SANYASA Karma Yoga. I was able to get that Jnana. So this way, now let's take this story forward. Arjuna was practicing this Karma Yoga and he was experiencing that immense joy with his transformed outlook. Now what happens on the other side? Dev, who was his friend, he had chosen a different path. He decided to become a sannyasi and live a life of austerity. So he said, I'm going to give up everything. He left all his material possessions behind and he sought for solitude and remained in the mountains. Then he started practicing self-restraint, hoping to find peace through renunciation. Now he has given up everything. No family, no friends, nothing, everything, no possessions. He believed that by detaching from the world, he could attain enlightenment. Okay, so this is the state of Dev. Years passed, and both Arjuna and Dev, at one point although they were in their own respective journeys, and Arjuna's heart was filled with love and devotion for God. He found bliss of inner peace while participating actively in the world. Dev, however, struggled with his renunciation. His mind was plagued by desires, completely shadowed by his shed repose, and he often felt angry and frustrated. It so happened that one day Arjuna and Dev, they met each other. Arjuna had a radiant smile, a very peaceful behavior, but Dev was just the opposite. Disheartened, weary, and completely confused. The challenges he faced in the quest of renunciation had completely ruined him. Then Arjuna says, what has happened to you? You should be actually glowing. You should be in an elated position. Dev, what has happened to you? Then Dev says, Arjuna, I'm so glad to see you. You're looking much, much better than before. He says, look, I met so-and-so Swamiji. and with his guidance, the importance of purity of mind and devotion in the path of renunciation. And he says, they've understood that I did not do what you did, Arjun. I straight got onto the path of renunciation. That means without a prepared mind, I got into the path of renunciation. So they have realized that he has been missing a very crucial element of his journey. What is that? A heart filled with love and devotion for the Lord. Then he decides to follow Arjun's advice and began to meditate on God with a pure heart, meaning doing japa, seva, and every action he started dedicating to the Lord. So within a short time, Dev's mind also became clear because he had the conviction to achieve something in life, but he didn't know the way. He had taken the wrong route. So, and then he also was able to find inner peace. So the two friends, once on different paths, now they walked side by side, understanding that both the karma yoga and karma sannyasa yoga, that renunciation, they both would lead eventually to self-realization and inner peace. Now you see here, their story illustrates the profound teachings of Lord Krishna, that the path to enlightenment and inner peace can be found through both active participation in the world, but with a pure heart, and a thorough renunciation with devotion. So what is important? It's the purity of intention and the love for the divine that truly matters. Whatever be your journey, first and foremost thing has to be that love for the divine has to be here. Without that, you cannot achieve anything in life. So in this way, karma yoga and karma sannyasa yoga. In karma yoga, bhakti gains priority, prominence, and not looking for the results. Just to do your duty, I am doing for the Lord. I'm not working for myself. See, when you're working for a company, you know very well that I'm working for a company. If you think that you're working for yourself, the company will kick you out. So here, just to make that assumption, although you're independent, maybe you have your own business, maybe you have your own profession, even though you're working for a company, you keep it in mind that I am working in this company, instructed by the Almighty to work in this company, or I am working in my own business only and only where Lord is the owner and I am an employee, although I am the chairman or managing director of that company. So working with the devotion is one path. After you have got knowledge, then you renounce each and every possession of yours. With that knowledge, you have gained complete control over your senses. Now that leads to the next level, which is the Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Okay, now we'll learn the first verse and we'll move forward. So the first verse says, Arjuna Uvacha Sanyasam Karmanam Krishna Punaryogam Cha Samshasi Yachshreyaetayorekam Tanme Bruhi Sunishchitam. So here I had not uploaded this first verse on the screen. Okay, so next time I'll show you. Okay. So this, as we know, it starts with the first question. Now, Arjuna says, I by now understand that I am not the Karta. It is the Sarveshwara who is everything, meaning that Lord is everything, and there is no scope for me, that is that I at all. If I use these terms like I, me, mine, then that amounts to apratishta. Apratishta means, in Sanskrit, pratishtha means to stand, and apratishta means no stand, no existence. So now Arjuna, he understands, I don't want to be the unreputable. I want to stand. So if I think I, then I am the biggest fool. And in this way, he understands that it is the Paramatma only who is that Sarvakarta and Sarvajnata. So I have totally understood this. I know this, Krishna, but somewhere, somehow, I get mixed up with the knowledge due to ignorance. Again, I wish for something. I feel I am different. You as Paramatma is different. I as a Jiva is different. So therefore, Lord Krishna, tell me, guide me. Should I give up doing all karmas? Because I know that I am not the Karta, or I should catch hold of this Paramatma who is that Sarveshwara. So you please tell me, should I give up or I should catch hold? So in this way, now when Arjuna puts forth to Lord Krishna, he basically says, guide me properly. I'm again and again getting confused with these connotations. So I just simply want your guidance. So now in this first shloka, when Arjuna asks this, now the Lord comes up with his answer. So let's listen to that. Shri Bhagavan Sanyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyasakaravubhau Tayostu Karma Sanyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate. So here he says, now if you see carefully in Arjuna's question, there is a confusion. I mean, he knows that what I am looking for is, I am not convinced with what the scenario is, and it is basically I need to get clarity on what the Lord is telling over here. So in both these yogas, Karma Yoga and the Karma Sannyasa Yoga, what we can see is, we can see that at this point Arjuna is terribly confused and he has not understood both the yogas, Karma and Sannyasa, in the right manner. Like for example, I'll quote an example where you want to go to the US, let's say, and what do? You take a flight. Now your flight is on a particular day at a particular time. Okay. For that, what you need to do, you need to go to the airport. Now stage 1, from your house you go to the airport by car, and stage 2 will be at the designated time you do your check-in and you take your flight and you reach your destination. Could be anywhere, US or London or Singapore, wherever you want to go. Now if you say, tell me one thing, either I take the car or I take the flight, don't tell me two different things, how foolish it would be. You just can't take a car and go to the US. And nor you can go to the airport without a means of transport. So to go to the airport to catch the flight, you need to have some means of transport. It could be right from walking, a bus, a taxi, or a own car, an auto, whatever it is. So these are the two stages. So Lord Krishna says, hey Arjun, you need both. Both are required. Ubhau, both. Nishreyasakara, he says. So this is, without a doubt, you need both these mediums. To catch a flight, you need a car. And you just can't say, I can jump into the flight straight from my house. So Karma Yoga is easier to practice, and he says it is superior to Jnana Yoga. Tayostu karma sanyasat. Karma yogo vishishyate. Vishishyate means it is greater. So becoming a yogi, a sannyasi is not that easy. You want to become a sannyasi, giving up everything is not an easy thing for us. It needs a lot of preparation. And this is what is going to eventually take you to that stage. That preparation is Karma Yoga, where you have continuously offered all your duties towards the Lord, all your actions towards the Lord, and you are completely prepared. Now between Karma Yoga and Karma Sannyasa Yoga, let's say you have a puja in your house. Before puja, what do? We take a bath. We cleanse ourselves. We wear fresh clothes. And we go and do the puja. Or is it like you first go and do the puja and then afterwards you come and do you take a bath? That's not the case. So in the same way, to go to sannyasa, karma sannyasa, you first need to do karma yoga. And what is the principle of karma yoga? Devotion, offering of your actions to the Lord, and not expecting result. So in this way, sannyasatva is not about giving up, but it is about growing up, understanding the facts of everything in life. So I'll tell you a story where one goes to a teacher. He leaves all his household duties. And then he says, because he says at home, I'm doing every work all the time, right from morning till night, I'm doing work, and I don't get time to do my sadhana. I don't get time to do my swadhyaya. What is the point of this household? No, I give everything. He goes to the ashram. Now, here he gets to understand the truth of life. Karma, be it at home or in the ashram, is an inevitable aspect in your life. So as soon as he goes to the ashram, after he is accepted by the guru over there, he gives him a duty right from morning 4 o'clock till night 9 o'clock. Sweeping the temple, sweeping the ashram grounds, watering the plants, then putting manure to the vegetable plants, cutting vegetables, assisting in the kitchen. Continuously there is work. Now this fellow gets frustrated. He says, what is this? This is much more than what I was doing at home. But then the Swamiji says, without action, there is no life. You have to be in activity. While you are doing activity, you have to keep remembering the Lord. It is not that you are going to sit in a cave and completely meditate all the time. It is not possible also. Finding small gaps in your activity, sit with a calm mind and do your sadhana, meditation or japa. But rest of the time while you're working, Have that thought of the Lord at the back of your mind and keep working. So he says, eventually I was doing the same thing at home at a much lesser proportion, but where is it now I have landed? And after he gets knowledge from the Guru, then he understands that karma is an integral part of everyone's life, but how you do karma is important. What is your attitude? What is your bhava in doing karma? That plays a major role. So what we do is not important. How we do is important. So be it a home or an ashrama. Ashrama is nothing but a place to transform oneself. It could be the brahmacharya ashrama, grihastha ashrama, vanaprastha ashrama, or the sannyasa ashrama. So in this way, Arjuna now understands that I can't straight jump into sannyasa yoga, becoming a sannyasi, meaning where I give up all my activities. So now Lord Krishna, he explains the true meaning of sannyasi in sannyasatva, you can say, renunciation, in the next verse. So we'll study about that in our next class. So today, fortunately, it has been a Pradosha day, the Trayodashi. So we'll take this opportunity and we'll do the Shiva aparadha kshmapana stotra together. Before that, we'll study the Vishnu Sahasranama, 2 divine names, and then we move forward. Verse number 39, we have the last shloka and the first shloka of verse 40. Atula sharabho bhimah samayajno havirharihi sarvalakshana lakshanyo lakshmivan samitinjayaha. Ever victorious. In the Puranas, we find the Lord ultimately wins in his battle with the unrighteous forces. He is the destroyer of all pains in the individuality of the devotees. Samiti as a word has got the meaning battle. So, Samitinjayaha means ever victorious. Stanza 40. Viksharo rohito margo heturdamodarasah mahidaro mahabhago vegavanamita 363 Viksharaha. Ksharaha means decaying, that which is perishing. And so Viksharaha means imperishable. Those who are meditating upon the Lord in his unmanifested state of glory, this term is very often used. All material things are conditioned by time, and all objects are therefore perishable. The Lord, the Self in the subject, and is therefore ever unchanging and always imperishable. To such a Lord who is Viksharaha, Samitinjayaha, we offer our humble salutations and seek his grace, mercy, and blessings. Now we chant the Dhanvantari mantra 3 times. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrudagalashahastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashahastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya सर्वरोगनिवारणाय त्रैलोक्यपतये त्रैलोक्यनिधये श्रीमहाविष्णुस्वरूप श्रीधन्वन्तरी स्वरूप श्री 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 औषधचक्र नारायणाय स्वाहा। ॐ नमो भगवते महासुदर्शनाय वासुदेवाय धन्वन्तरये अमृतकलशहस्ताय सर्वभयविनाशाय सर्वरोगनिवारणाय त्रैलोक्यपतये त्रैलोक्यनिधये श्रीमहाविष्णुस्वरूप श्रीधन्वन्तरी स्वरूप श्री 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 औषधचक्र नारायणाय स्वाहा। Our humble salutations to Lord Dhanvantari to seek His grace, blessings, to give us good and robust health to pursue the path of spirituality. Om Tat Sat. And now, after a long time, we have got this opportunity. So let's do the Shiva aparadha kshmapana stotra with complete faith, devotion, and surrender.
अथ श्री शिवापराध क्षमापन स्तोत्रम्। कलयति कलुषम् मातृशोकितम् मध्ये चक्रयति निग्रहम् जातो जातवेदा यद्वै दुःखम् व्यथयति निग्रहम् शक्यते भवतुम् अन्तरो मे पराः शिव 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 भो श्रीमहादेव शम्भो।
Okay. Now, the Jiva is confessing to the Lord, and who has prepared this confession note is none other than our Jagadguru Shankaracharya. So here, he has not left any stone unturned in terms of asking for forgiveness. So he starts from the Jiva being in the mother's womb, and then slowly, as the Jiva travels the journey of life, it asks for forgiveness. So there cannot be a better way to ask for forgiveness. And this repentance, confession, what we do over here, are bad karmas which are obstructing something good from happening in this life, will clear way for that good to reach us. And also, if something bad has to happen us, it will obstruct that bad happening, or it will at least tone down the impact of that bad situation which was to happen to you. So let's do this with complete surrender. What you need here is not your intellect and your brain and all that. What you just need is that become humble. Fill in yourself with humility. Bring in a lot of emotion and feel, and understand this. So what the Jiva is saying is Due to my previous birth and my karmas, I was born inside my mother's womb and placed between urine, excreta, and that heat. Everything there was unhappiness, and I was feeling that pain by the heat of the digestive fire. And possibly none can describe the sufferings that I have undergone over there in the womb. So, O Shiva, Shiva Shambho, please pardon my faults, my sins. O Mahadeva, O Mahadeva.
Shiva 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 Ho Shiva Deva Shambho.
Now he says, due to extreme sorrow during my childhood, I rolled in dirt with this dirty body. And I always cared and I was interested only in drinking the breast milk from my mother. All kinds of insects used to bite me often, which I was not able to prevent. And I was attacked by so many illness. Only thing I could do was crying. And never did I find time to think of you, O Lord, O Parameshwara. Therefore, Shiva Shambho, please pardon my faults, my sins. O Mahadeva, O Mahadeva.
Soham Jovastu Vishayavishadharaihi Panchavirmarvatandho Dasodasto Viveka Sukadhanivadi Svadasoke Vishana Shri Kindarinam Mahadeva Shiva 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 Ho Shiva Shambho.
Now he goes on. This jiva from being a child is now come to stage of youth. He says, when I was passing this period of youth, I was bitten by the 5 snakes of senses on vulnerable spots of my heart. They were so alluring and attractive, I lost my way. I lost due to the loss of my wisdom. My discriminating power was completely down, and I only began concentrating on the pleasures of money, women, and sex. So I had no time to think of you, O Lord Parameshwara. Therefore, O Shiva Shambho, please pardon my faults, my sins, O Mahadeva, Mahadeva.
Shiva 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 Ho Shiva
Now, from youth, he's talking of his situation, what happens in his old age. He says, when I was passing through this ripe old age of mine, all these five senses which were so active and vibrant in my youth, they all got weakened. I lost my memory. I lost my thinking capacity. My body has become weak due to this karmic sin. Sickness and pain is constantly after my back, and my mind is constantly roaming around. Useless passions and desires are continuously attacking me. So I did not think of you, O Parameshwara, O Shiva Shambho. Please pardon my faults, my sins, O Mahadeva, Mahadeva. Shiva 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 Shri Mahadeva Now the Jiva says, I am unable to observe the complex rules of Dharma. What to say about the rules of the Vedas and the Upanishads, as told by the Brahmins? I do not have any trust in this basic Dharma. I am not able to think or understand them whenever I try to listen to the Vedas. And I try to ponder and meditate upon you, O Lord. I try to do my swadhyaya, but my body and mind situation is so weak that I was never able to concentrate on you. O Shiva Shambho, please pardon my faults, my sins. O Mahadeva, O Mahadeva. Mahadeva Shambho.
गन्धपुष्पेवदर्थम् सन्तव्योमेवराः शिव 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 भो श्रीमहादेव शम्भो.
Here he says, I used to take bath at the holy rivers, but I never bought that holy water, that Ganges water for puja. I did never offer you the bilva leaves, the garland of lotuses, which were right there in front of me, bloomed in the lake. I did not offer any fragrant incense sticks, nor I even lit a lamp for you. O Shiva Shambho, please pardon my faults, my sins. O Mahadeva, O Mahadeva.
Shiva 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 Ho Shri Mahadeva
I did not do Abhishekam on the Shivalingam with milk or honey or curd. I never applied the sandalwood paste. I never offered you flowers. Never I lit a camphor lamp. Never I offered you bhog in terms of a tasty food which I had. I was so selfish, I just gobbled it up myself, even without offering to you. O Shiva Shambho, please pardon my faults, my sins. O Mahadeva, O Mahadeva.
Shiva 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 Ho Shri Mahadeva Shambho.
Never did I sit in a lonely place meditating upon you. Never did I do the chakra dhyana. I did not focus on the breath, which is the very essence of my life, that form of pranava, through that subtle path where I could reach the ever-shining Parabrahma. Never did I calm my mind and meditate on Paramashiva, who transcends the physical body and who is the essence of all Vedas. O Shiva Shambho, please pardon my faults, my sins. O Mahadeva, O Mahadeva.
Shri Shiva 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 Ho Shiva Chan
who is naked, who is unattached, who is ever pure, who is free from these three qualities of sattva, rajas, and tamas, and who is capable of dispelling delusion and ignorance. I did not remember that great Lord Shiva. O Shiva Shambho, please pardon my faults, my sins. O Mahadeva, O Mahadeva. Hey Lord, who wears the moon as his ornamented crown, who is the enemy of the god of love, who carries Ganga on his head, who gives peace to his devotees, who wears snakes on his neck and ears, who has fire in his eyes, who wears the skin of an elephant, and who is the Lord of the three worlds. Please show me the path of liberation. For what is the use of any other path? O Shiva Shambho, O Shiva Shambho. Now he talks about his own mind. He's telling his mind. He says, "O mind, what is the use of charity, the riches, the horses, and by getting a kingdom? What is the use of a son, a wife, friends, and cows? What is the use of this house, this body? For all these can be destroyed in a second. Therefore, keep them all away, and for the sake of redemption of this soul, this upliftment of this soul, I meditate on the consort of Parvati," meaning the husband of goddess Parvati, according to the lessons taught by my teacher. Oh Shiva Shambho, this is this firm resolve which I'm making in my life. I want to grow spiritually and reach that Lord. This is the penultimate shloka. Here he says, he's now talking to himself. Please hear, this daily span of life decreases. The youth daily disappears. The days that are past do not return. Time swallows the world, and life and wealth are not permanent, for they are like the tide and lightning. So, my God Parameshwara, please protect this devotee of thine. I am helpless. I accept all my faults in my life. I have done out of ignorance. Protect me, O Mahadeva, O Mahadeva. So here finally, the Jiva says, whatever faults or mistakes I have done so far, with the help of my hands, my legs, my speech, and my entire body, also due to my actions of seeing, hearing, which are against the prescriptions of the Veda. All these, O Lord Shiva, who is so compassionate, please forgive me. You are the Lord of all deities, and the one whose very nature is to bless his devotees. I am completely surrendering to you. I realize my mistakes. Now I want to come under your threshold. Please accept me as your devotee. Cleanse all my sins and pave way to reach thy abode. O Shiva Shambho, O Shiva Shambho, O Shiva Shambho. In this way, the Jiva, realizing that whatever it has done so far, knowingly and unknowingly, finally resolves and surrenders to the Lord. Does the prayashchitta and moves forward on the path of spirituality with robust speed. So to such a loving Parameshwara, Shiva Shambhu, we seek his grace and blessings on the spiritual path to take us to the new heights, cleanse our hearts and minds, and give that thrust and push which is required in our lives on the spiritual path, and leave no stone unturned to reach his destination, that final goal of life.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Together we offer today's Gita Jnana Yajna at the lotus feet of the Lord. We seek His grace, mercy, and blessings. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Idam Namama. Om Sat.